The highly anticipated season finale of 1923 is almost here, and to say the excitement is building would be an understatement. Honestly, I don't even know where to begin because so much is happening that it's hard to wrap my head around it all. First, let's talk about the shocker this season is wrapping up earlier than expected. With a big twist, the 8th episode is being completely skipped. This wasn't part of the original plan, and fans are left wondering what this change means for the storyline and how it will affect the grand finale. But that's not all. The finale itself is going to be a massive 2-hour event, so buckle up for what promises to be an epic conclusion. And here's another bombshell. It's no longer being called the series finale, as originally thought. Instead, this episode will officially be referred to as the season finale, leaving open the tantalizing possibility of more to come in the future. It's a roller coaster of surprises, and I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. On one hand, this could very well be a clever marketing tactic designed to leave us on the edge of our seats, eagerly anticipating the season finale. On the other hand, it might genuinely not be the series' end, leaving us all wondering if we'll ever get the closure we've been craving for the past couple of years. The fact that the finale is now being called a season finale instead of a series finale has fans buzzing with speculation, and honestly, after what we've heard behind the scenes, the second option seems more likely. We might not get the resolution we've been hoping for just yet, which is both thrilling and frustrating at the same time. Now, let's dive into what could possibly happen in the 1923 Season 2 finale, because things are about to get intense. First up, let's talk about Alexandra. Her situation is looking more hopeless by the minute. If you've been following her journey, you know she's currently stuck in the middle of nowhere, trapped under a heavy blanket of snow with a dead woman in her car. To make matters worse, her one and only hope of reaching Montana has now been completely wiped away. As it stands, things are looking pretty grim for her. It almost feels like Taylor Sheridan is throwing every possible hardship at her, testing her limits in ways we never thought possible. And let's be real this time, she sort of walked right into it. Throughout the last episode, she ignored all the warnings, pushed forward with her adventure without thinking of the dire consequences, and now she's facing the fallout. If she'd just waited a few more days for spring to arrive, she could have avoided all this chaos. But she didn't, and now, with the weather turning worse by the hour, and no clear way out, her survival seems like it's hanging by a thread. Here's where things might take a turn. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers pointed out that there are railroad tracks visible in the background of her location, and honestly, that could change everything. Great catch, by the way, props to you. If Alexandra's car is indeed near a railroad, it opens up a potential escape route for her. Don't be surprised if we see her walking along those tracks, desperate to make it to the nearest train station. It's going to be a brutal journey, no question about it, but she'll push through because of one powerful reason: her baby. She will fight tooth and nail to survive, and that determination will drive her every step of the way. Interestingly, we'll catch a glimpse of Alexandra at the start of the episode, trying to make her way to Montana, but we won't see her again until the very end. That's when we'll finally witness the long-awaited emotional reunion between her and Spencer. Prepare yourselves, because it's going to be a tear-jerker, a reunion that will go down as one of the most heart-wrenching and beautiful moments of the series. Get your tissues ready, because we're about to witness a reunion for the ages. Teonna's story has been nothing short of heartbreaking from the very beginning, and as much as we hoped for a glimmer of peace in her life, it seems her journey is far from over. From the tragic loss of her father to the deep sorrow of losing her lover, and finally, to her fierce act of vengeance against Father Renaud, it felt like she might have finally reached the breaking point where she could find some semblance of solace. But, as we've come to realize with Teonna, peace is never that simple. Now, just when it seemed like she might catch her breath, the relentless Marshal Mamie Fed is closing in on her. And while we all understand that Teonna's actions were born out of desperation and pain, especially in the case of killing Father Renaud, she's still considered a fugitive in the eyes of the law. As much as we can empathize with her, the truth is that the world she's fighting against doesn't care about her pain. In this next episode, we'll see Teonna desperately trying to convince Mamie that she's not a criminal, just a young woman doing everything she can to survive in a brutal world that has never shown her kindness. Her plea is raw, honest, and heartbreaking. She's not a villain. She's a victim of circumstances beyond her control. At first, Mamie is resolute in her pursuit to imprison Teonna, seeing only the law and not the pain that's led her to this point. But then something shifts. As Mamie listens to Teonna's story, a different truth begins to emerge, one that is more than just black and white. In a moment that no one could have predicted, Mamie uncovers a shocking truth that changes everything she thought she knew about the young woman before her. The emotional weight of it all forces Mamie to reconsider her stance, and rather than sending Teonna to a prison cell, she makes an unexpected decision. She lets her go. But it's not a complete escape. Instead of a simple release, Mamie decides to banish Teonna from Orlando, entirely forcing her to leave and in some twisted way, giving her a chance to carve her own path in a world that has never given her the chance to do so before. It's a decision that raises more questions than answers, and one that will undoubtedly set the stage for even more trauma and heartache. Teonna's fight for survival is far from over, and with the law on her tail, she's going to have to navigate even darker waters ahead. Her journey is far from complete, and the stakes have never been higher. Now, I know everyone is wondering what that shocking truth is, and trust me, I'm not going to make you wait. Teonna is pregnant. Yes, you heard that right, and that revelation is the turning point. It's what ensures she gets a chance to start over, because Mamie is not the kind of woman who would let a young pregnant girl rot in prison. We all know that Teonna's journey eventually leads her to Montana, as she's revealed to be the grandmother of Thomas Rainwater. However, as much as we may know her final destination, there's still so much more to explore in her story. Honestly, I can't shake the feeling that we'll need at least another season to truly see how her character's journey unfolds, especially considering the emotional weight of everything she's been through. There's still so much more to uncover, and her future is far from certain. But hey, that's just my take. What do you think? Do you believe her story is getting the proper closure, or should we expect more of her in the future? Speaking of spin-offs, there have been whispers about Mamie potentially getting her own series. Now, I'm not entirely sold on the idea myself, but what about you? Would you be intrigued to see Mamie's journey explored in greater depth? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that. Now, let's talk about one of the few glimmers of hope amidst all the chaos. Spencer is finally, finally, on his way to Montana. I mean, after everything he's endured, train hopping, constant obstacles, and what feels like an eternity of waiting, it's hard not to feel like this is his time. But of course, nothing in this brutal world ever comes easy, and fate always seems to have other plans. As we saw in episode 6, a snowstorm has thrown a wrench into his journey, making his arrival in Montana seem almost impossible. The woman at the train station even pointed out how unusually harsh the weather is for spring, and that kind of warning never bodes well, does it? Something tells me this snowstorm is a bad omen, setting the stage for even more challenges ahead. And it's not just the storm standing in his way. Donald Whitfield has made his intentions crystal clear. Spencer cannot make it to Dutton land, and he'll do whatever it takes to make sure of it. His hitmen are closing in on Spencer, and the next episode promises one of the most intense action sequences we've seen yet. But don't worry, Spencer's journey isn't going to end here. After everything he's fought through, there's little chance we'll say goodbye to him so soon, especially after the loss of Jack. If anything, it looks like one of Donald's hitmen is in for a much shorter ride. Because, let's face it, Spencer didn't travel all this way just to lose now. But as soon as Spencer steps off that train, he'll be walking straight into an all-out shootout. Picture it, Jacob, the sheriff's men. Donald's forces, everyone's waiting for Spencer at the train station, and what's about to unfold is going to be total chaos in the best possible way. It's going to be a battle for the ages. And then there's Kara, while Spencer and Jacob are caught up in the gunfight at the station. Donald's men are launching an all-out assault on the Yellowstone ranch. Kara is going to have to rise to the occasion like never before. She's not just protecting the home, she's defending what's left of her family. She'll fight with everything she's got to make sure that Spencer has a place to return to, and I'm here for it. I have no doubt that Kara is going to prove just how fierce she is. By the episode's end, we'll witness a chilling moment, the Duttons dropping the bodies of their enemies from the cliffs above the train station, which will serve as the catalyst for the entire train station lore of Yellowstone. Honestly, this moment has me beyond excited, as it's such a pivotal point in the story's history. And I know what you're thinking. What about Elizabeth? Well, the truth is, we're about to see her in the most heartbreaking state. Losing Jack is pushing her to the edge, and as we head into the finale, I can already feel her grief spiraling into something much darker. Her despair is not only affecting her emotional well-being, but it's also putting her baby's life at risk. It's a tragic situation, but there's a glimmer of hope in all of this. While Kara is fighting to protect the ranch, she's also going to be doing everything in her power to keep Elizabeth safe. This kind of immediate danger will force Elizabeth to snap out of her sorrowful spiral and take action. She's going to pick up a rifle and fight back fighting, not just for herself, but for the family she's now determined to protect. This is the moment we've all been waiting for, and I truly believe Elizabeth is going to become a force to be reckoned with. However, there's a twist. Rumors are swirling that Elizabeth might leave the Dutton ranch in the end, choosing to move back to the city with her family. With Jack gone, it's hard to imagine her staying in Montana to endure another brutal winter. While this would be a heartbreaking move for the Duttons, it might just be the fresh start Elizabeth needs, though I can't help but feel conflicted about it. Let me know your thoughts on Elizabeth's potential departure. Would you be sad to see her go? Or do you think it's time for her to leave the harsh realities of ranch life behind? For more weekly updates, analysis, and discussions on 1923, make sure to like and subscribe. Meanwhile, the video on your screen might also interest you.